Quiet on set. Picture is up. All right, roll sound.
Rolling.
Roll cameras.
Cams rolling.
And 3, 2.
Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Hank's Think Tank. Guess what? It's almost the weekend, and we got a good show for you here today. I got David Mullane in here.
Yay.
How y'all doing?
Once again, this is probably the, 5th or 6th time, maybe the 12th. Who knows? Welcome, David.
Thanks, sir. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so today we've got Kelly McDonald in, and she is running for Texas House Representatives, District 3. And in that race also we have Cecil Bell Jr., who is the incumbent. Kelly is a native Texan and a lifelong Republican. She's also a member of the NRA and many other local organizations. Welcome aboard, Miss McDonald.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're
Very
welcome.
excited to be here.
Cool. So to start out with, being that I don't know too much about how the redistricting happened, can you tell me a little bit about District 3?
I can. So District 3, it's huge, actually. It starts at the beginning of Montgomery County over at the Waller County line. It encompasses all of Magnolia, just a little bit of the Woodlands, a little bit of Conroe, and then just kind of rainbows over the Woodlands, and is encompassing East County. So it's really, really a large district. I'm really excited about it.
Wow. So East County, then I guess, is kind of separated between District 3 and District 2, or is it 8?
So East County is 18 and 18 and
Yeah.
then 3.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. I wonder where that line's at. I'm going to have to look at that map again.
Yeah, I'm still, it's funny, I've lived in the Magnolia area for 20 years, and I'm just really getting to know the East County side now. So I look at those maps daily, actually, and just trying to get to know as many people as I can possibly get to know in time.
How's your campaign going?
I think it's going great. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying especially East County. I grew up in a really small town. So, Magnolia has always been kind of a small town, but my kids have no idea what a real small town is like. Magnolia has 100,000 people. That's not small town.
Right.
I'm from a small town of 1,000. So I get so excited, especially when I'm over in East County, because it just feels like that same small town that I grew up in. And the people are that. Everybody seems to know everybody's parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters. It just feels really good.
That's good. That's great. So, I didn't want to just go with all the same general questions that everybody always asks. We're going to get to a few of those things here pretty soon.
Okay.
But I wanted to ask you, because I think it's important for people to know why you decided to run for this particular position. And, I know there's a lot of standard answers, but was there any real motivating factor that got you there? Something that you said, well, I'm thinking about doing it, and then something that just threw you over the edge. You said, yeah, I'm gonna throw my name in the hat.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a lot of volunteer hats that I have done in the community, and one of those is with the Chamber of Commerce over in the Magnolia area, the Greater Magnolia Parkway Chamber of Commerce. So I got involved in that just because I'm in real estate, and I'm all about small businesses and bonding together. And so the president of the chamber asked me, hey, would you consider being our government affairs person for this year? And I had no idea what that meant. That was a year ago. And I said, sure, I'll do it. I love, it's just like Johnny Carrabba from the restaurants. He always says, yes is the answer. What is the question? So ever since I heard that, I love that. But I said, yes, I'll do it. So I started researching. So I said, okay, what does that mean? She said, well, just all of the things going on in the city, all of the things going on in the county, everything going on in the state level. It's a legislative year. We want you to kind of watch everything and then come back to the business owners and report what's important to them, because they don't have time to do that. And I said, oh, that sounds great. So I really kind of took that to the maximum. I would stay up late at night watching videos of the Texas legislative floor, things that were going on. I would type and retype bills for people and synopsis of each. I would have these books that I would make for the chamber. And what I found interesting is I didn't really understand how all the districts were separated. I just know that the area had 2 or 3 state representatives on the state level that were in charge of the area. Right. And so I started following each one, what they were doing. And I think the tipping point for me to decide to do something like this, because I was already on the school board and I was enjoying the school board in Magnolia, but this was interesting because I found, in this role, talking to, I would go and talk to the county commissioner, I would talk to the city councils, I would talk to business owners saying, hey, what is it that you need that you're not getting? And they would tell me whatever their problem was. For instance, there was a business that couldn't get their landlord to kind of beautify the area, and it was a huge, beautiful piece of property in the middle of town.
Just couldn't get them to spend the bank.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So I said, okay, I'm going to go to the city council and I don't know where to start, but I'm a real estate agent, so I can look up who the landlord is. And so I called the landlord, and the landlord basically hung up on me, and it wasn't from the area. So then I went to the city council to talk to them about it, and I said, listen, my name is Kelly McDonald. I'm part of the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here on behalf of all the businesses, and blah, blah, blah. I told them, asked them for their help on doing that. And I was successful in doing that. And I said, okay, that's neat. Okay, what can I do on the state level? So then I started following all the legislation going on. And the turning point for me was that I saw such a difference on what different legislators were doing. And knowing the need of my community, because I'd been out there for the last year asking these kind of questions, I thought there's no time to waste, and especially what's going on in the federal government and just the
Right.
division. I thought, okay, I was telling my husband about it, talked my husband's ears off about it, and he said, okay, well, what are you going to do about it, Kelly? And I said, well, I guess I'm going to run. I'm going to do it because I can do a better job. So that was the reason I stepped in.
What did
That's
he
a long
say about
story.
that?
he was sorry he asked. But
I bet.
it's actually been really neat. He's got his own job and company to run and all of that, but it's been really neat for us, kind of a bonding experience, because I don't think he realized what all I did in the community until this.
Right.
And so we'll walk into a room, and it's usually all about him. We'll walk into a room, and people will actually know who I am. And he would say, gosh, I didn't know you knew that many people. But it's been
cool.
really fun. He's been helping me
Yeah.
hang signs everywhere. And, I talk his ears off at night about, have I done enough? Have I done enough? So it's been neat.
And I think every candidate asks that same question.
I think so.
So what's been the one thing that you didn't expect about running for office? Has to be something.
I didn't expect it to be so expensive.
Yeah.
That was an eye opener, and I didn't expect people to be so friendly, honestly, and so welcoming. I think that especially in East County, I feel like people are just going, oh, you want to be my representative? What does a representative do? Tell me more about that. And it's just been a neat way to meet new people and just tell them who I am, and you don't have to act like you're more than you are. People will accept you at your face value.
Right.
I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a small business person, but I want to do good things, and people are receptive to that. And now it's just so neat to walk into a room, and that's the best thing out of this process, is that I'll walk into a room and I will have known 50 people that I would have not known had I not been through this process. So it's
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I find that to be unusual too. But you're in a good position because you're in Montgomery County, which predominantly Republican. It's going to be hard for you to run into the enemy, so everybody is going to be pretty welcoming and open-armed, I guess.
The funny story so I volunteer at a senior center, and one of the senior citizens there is big-time Democrat. And so when I first started going in there volunteering, he told me, well, I can't talk to you because you're Republican and I'm a Democrat. And I said, okay, no problem. And then every once in a while we'd start having conversations, and now he's one of my most raving fans. He can be Democrat, but we can get along, and we all want
Right.
the same things. We all want our families and our businesses and all of that. So I want him over.
Right, and even though it's contrary to popular belief, the divisions really don't run all that deep. Everybody wants the same thing.
Yeah.
We just have different
Ways
trails
that we
to
do
get
it.
there.
Yeah.
Different methods of getting there for sure. So I know that you have interest in a lot of different areas, but I want to ask you a question that is kind of a tough one, I think. But if you're elected, what would be your idea of staying out in front of the public? So I think a lot of times, and the reason why I'm asking this now is because of the point you brought up a little while ago when you said that you had talked to individuals who didn't even know what a state rep did.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that goes back to apathy, voter apathy, or just citizen apathy. I think it actually goes to the fact that most of our public officials don't get out in front of the public. They use social media or their website, but they don't actually get out in front of the public and say, this is what I do, this is what we're working on, and here's how you can be involved. Man, I took a long time to get this damn question.
That's a good question.
So, yeah. So, do you have any plans for staying out in front of the public, and what were your thoughts and ideas on
I
that?
do. You know, that's the best part about this job, I think, is you are a representative of the people.
Exactly.
And so what better way to do that than be among the people all the time? And so I actually had a pledge that I put out a few months ago that said I'm going to have regular office hours in the different communities, because you can't just have an office sitting somewhere and then, you know, maybe staff it, maybe not.
Right.
You got to be with the people. And I love being a part of the community. I love being part of the chamber, part of Rotary. You know, there's so many things that I do on a normal basis that, yeah, I'm going to go to Austin and I'm going to do the laws, make the laws that our community needs. But when session's out, I'm going to be in my regular life. I'm going to be seeing all the people in the schools, all the amazing people that I've met over the last 7 months. I'm going to be going to the Constables Academy. I'm going to be...
Are you really?
Yes, I'm actually in it right now, and I am
That's
loving,
cool.
you know, Constable
Yeah.
Hayden said to me, why, I can't believe that you're taking the time to do this with all that's going on, but that's my favorite part of this.
Yeah.
That's to actually be around people. And so to answer your question, I'm going to be among the people, and I'm not going to avoid any hard questions. And if I don't know the answer, I'll just tell them, hey, I don't know, but I'll find out. At least I have the power to find out for you and
go.
make it change. So regular office hours in all sides of I even want to open an office in East County, because I don't think that East County has been served as well as they should, especially if people don't even know what a representative does.
Right.
When I was at the Chamber of Commerce the other day, I asked everybody, okay, not to put anybody on the spot, but how many people know what a state representative does? And like one person sheepishly put their hand up. And I said,
Right.
it's okay, I didn't really know either, but let me tell you what it is. And I just basically have been telling them, I've almost been doing the job for the last 7 months, going around and finding out what the needs are and then doing something about it. So
Cool.
yeah.
I like it.
That question's been bounced around a lot. So tell us, what does a state representative do?
So quite literally, you are a representative of the people. And you know, when you look at the word representative, over half of the word is present, right? So I think about that a lot. And I was talking to my mom about that, and she goes, "You're already present in the community. You always got to make sure that you know that." The other part of it is whenever Austin is in session, you have the power to take what your needs of your community are and go and put those bills forward that actually can make a difference, not only for your community, but for the entire state. I mean, look at what happened this last session with the heartbeat bill. That's a first-year representative, Shelby Slauson, Republican. She's only one of 7 Republican women there. She took that and ran with it, and that's a difference a representative can do, because you know you can talk all day and vote conservatively, because we expect that as a Republican. We expect you to vote conservatively. We expect you to co-sponsor, which means sign on to other people's bills. But you gotta be a doer that gets in there and says, this is what my community needs from day one, and here's all the bills that are going to make that happen. And you have to have somebody that will charge through it. So I've always been known to run, not walk, where I'm going. So I'm going to be that doer. That's what I'm excited is. So let's say I win this election on March 1st. March 2nd, I finally have the ability to get these bills done. I've got a running list of about 10 things so far that I know our community needs, and it will not only affect our community, but the entire state of Texas. So I just need the possibility to get in there. That's all.
We'll definitely have to circle back to those 10 things. But
Yeah.
speaking of heartbeat bill, jump into that one.
So yeah, we're gonna
dive into that one.
I'm gonna
favorite.
put you on the spot.
Okay.
Because I wanted to ask how you felt about civil enforcement legislation.
That's
And
tricky.
before we go farther, I need to let you know that I'm opposed to it. I think it's insidious and bad, and it could really turn out to be bad for the entire country. And I do understand that in order to get the heartbeat legislation passed, they needed that component. But I still think that they could have added some sort of codicil or something in there that would state that that component could only be used for that particular type of legislation, or something that would hinder it from being used in other ways. So civil enforcement.
Yeah, civil enforcement, that is tricky. I kind of tend to agree with you. I think that that's a slippery slope. You know, our country is so divided as it is,
Right.
that to me that seems like another opportunity for division. I don't know how I would have done it better. I think that still has tons of work to go on it. But I'm proud of the state of Texas for the powers that be that knew how to put a bill to get like that together, and include that part of it. They must have known what they're doing, because it keeps standing up in court, and other parts
Because
of
the
this.
very nature of it, it makes it to where it can't be beat in court.
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah.
So-
And that scares me too, actually.
Yeah, I don't, to be honest with you, I don't know what the better option is, but I'm going to research it, because I know that we have to make sure that it stands. And, you know, we'll have to, if those instances, you know, where what you're talking about, people civilly being involved in it, backfires, then we're going to have to handle that. But
Well, you know, there's legislation that's been put before the House in California that uses civil enforcement for gun legislation. I don't know where it's at right now, but I know they're working on it. And there's been a couple of others. I think there's something in Missouri and a couple other states. It's not on the abortion issue. It's on other issues.
Right.
So that's my concern, is that we'll turn into a nation to where everybody's looking at everybody else trying to figure out what they're doing wrong so we can sue them. You know.
right.
And
I
that's
agree
just-
with you 100%. And I don't know what the answer of that is, but I'm also really concerned about it enough to, and I will research those that you're talking about, because I think that that's going to come up this session.
Yeah, I think so.
So.
Yeah. Okay. David, come on, man. What you got?
Well, I see you as an educator. My mother was an educator, so thank you for that. You said you would public education, or some things you'd like to change. Give us an example of a few of those.
Okay, so not an educator, but I was a coach. Just that there's a fine line there. I actually
Yeah,
wish that
coaches
I
are
was.
actually
I thought you was on
Well,
the school board.
I am on the
Okay, that's what
yes,
I
I
was
was
wondering.
on
I'm
the school
sorry.
board, but I just wanted to make sure you knew I wasn't a teacher. I respect teachers so much, and I know what they've been through, and I haven't done that. But I've been on the school board for the last 5.5 years, and before that I was a coach for middle school and high school, and I was really proud of that. And you're right, that is a part of a teaching.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I learned more from my coach than any of the other teachers.
it makes me so proud for one of my kids that I've coached to call me Coach McDonald. You can call me Representative McDonald, you can call me, Mrs. McDonald, whatever. But when somebody says Coach McDonald, my heart just melts. So,
There you
but
go.
yeah, talking about education, I think. Wow.
Improving education, I believe.
Improving education. I think that number one, you have to improve the curriculum. Our kids are so far behind, especially after this pandemic. There's been this A to F rating that they've been trying to regulate the curriculum through that. They've been trying to teaching to the test. I mean, teachers are in just such a hard place, I think, trying to do what they love, which is teaching, but also they're so hindered by all of those things. I would love to see, number one, the curriculum be a lot more transparent. I think that would make parents a lot happier.
I believe you're right.
Yeah, so if you can have the quality of education, but also be very transparent on what you're teaching the kids, be very transparent on how you're spending the money. I think both of those transparencies are important. I think that you have to make sure that the parents feel like they have a seat at the table. Luckily in our area, we didn't have parents that are being disrespected like what we heard on the news.
Oh yes, it's everywhere. It seems like.
Yeah,
maybe not here.
Yeah,
but
so I think that we have to have quality. We have to have of education. We have to have transparency of what the kids are learning. You have to make sure you respect parents and make sure that they have a place at the table. And I think you have to empower teachers. I think that. I was talking to a teacher that I really love and respect that teaches 5th grade, and she said every year she asks her kids what they want to be when they grow up. And she's such a great teacher that half the class usually says, "Oh, I want to be a teacher." But she said this year was the first year that no one said that. And so she ended up saying, "So, hey, I was just wondering, did anybody want to be a teacher?" And one little boy said, "Well, they don't get paid anything." And so her heart was just, on the floor. So I think that we have to figure out a way to pay our teachers more. I think we have to help to support them in their jobs. I think the way that they are, whenever they're, trying to think of the word, whenever they have their evaluations and the way that they're paid is tied to that, it can't be so subjective. It has to be, you have to, have maybe a self-evaluation from a teacher's perspective, and have a peer review and really treat teachers with respect and give them the tools that they need, so that it becomes a profession that people want to be in again. And we have to teach our kids that it's as a respectable of a occupation as a policeman is. So I think that, if you keep the quality, the transparency, and you treat teachers the way they should be treated, I think that's the way to change public education.
Do you believe that people being schooled from home via computers and Wi-Fi, and the teachers kind of got pushed to the back burners because of all the
I think
remote learning?
Yes, I think, one positive of all of that is I think people appreciate teaching a lot more, especially when parents had to try to get to work and also take off work, and hopefully they had broadband at home, maybe they didn't,
and there were parents that were completely perplexed, like, what is this? I don't understand this. How am I going to teach it?
Exactly. Makes you really realize that teaching is a lot harder than you would think. So I think if now with this legislative session, this is the most important time to go all in for teachers, because they're actually appreciated right now, I think, especially from parents.
They don't seem to get paid a lot, but a lot of the people I talk to, and we wonder why, because we pay so much in school taxes. And you would think the frontline teachers would be, paid more than what they are, since obviously they are the front line. But, we pay a lot in school taxes. I don't know why teachers aren't paid more. Superintendents sure are.
Yeah.
We pay a lot in schools.
So. I think that all of that needs to be looked at. I think that's probably the only way teachers are ever going to earn the respect that they deserve, is if you start paying them more and turn the tide of public opinion on especially the kids coming up. There's shortages in colleges now in the teaching field, because kids already kind of perceive that teachers don't make enough money or whatever it is. I was even on LinkedIn a few days ago, and I saw another teacher post, "Hey, teachers, here's your skills that are transferable into the work world in case you want to go to another profession." And I just felt like it was like a stab to the heart, because the teachers are so important. I mean, they have the most influence over your kids. The parents are first, and then the teachers are the next front line. So you gotta keep good ones in there if you want your kids to be good.
So what do you think about our curriculums versus the curriculums of other states or even other nations? I mean, are you happy with our curriculum these days? Or do you think some of that education, though valuable in some areas, could be almost wasteful time in others?
Yeah, I believe that when we were kids, we learned math, English, history,
right.
Even home economics. We learned financial responsibility,
life skills.
Yes,
yeah, exactly. That needs to come back. Yeah,
and I really think there should be a class
how to
called
do your
basic,
taxes,
basic life skills. You know,
think
and that
that's
should go
missing.
from grade 1 all the way
Yeah.
through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, even in kindergarten, you say, okay, here's 3 oranges. Now you keep one and save it for yourself. You can give one away if you want.
Economics, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just that kind of thing. I think that I think financial literacy and how to be a good parent and those kind of things should be taught in school. I miss that. I think that we when we got taught, I think our generation was probably the last ones that got that.
Right.
And I think society's suffering because of it now.
It'd be nice if they taught more financial, especially on the high school level, getting kids ready to go into the real world.
Right.
Because a lot of these kids, they get out of high school, they sign these student loans that strap them for years. And if they were taught some financial literacy before they got out of high school, they wouldn't make such rash decisions that that hinder you throughout life. A lot of it can knock you back for a while. And
Yeah,
some
but
of
the
those
student loan
lessons-
thing's a racket. I mean,
Oh, sure,
it became
yeah.
a racket years ago.
But they need to teach that it is a racket in high school, not to fall for it. But vocational schools got a bad rap because all the universities want your money. But yeah, if they taught some life lessons in high school, maybe we'd be smarter kids coming out of school. Because right now there's a lot of classes I feel that once you get out, you never learn them.
Right.
But they're still there. But life lessons, we need to bring that back.
I agree
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, basic life skills. Mm-hmm. That'd be awesome.
I'm gonna push that in the legislature. I've befriended a lot of people in education through this process, and we're all in agreement that has to come back just for our society's sake and for the kids' sake.
Sure.
And I think more civics as well needs to be taught, because there's a
Patriotism.
big gap
Yeah.
for some, and I don't really know where it happened or how it happened, but there's a big gap, and it's
agree.
like people my age still know a little bit about civics, but you get a little younger than me, and there's just a gap all the way down to the guys that are 30.
Yeah, I mean, remember back in the day we'd watch Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm just a Bill.
Yeah.
I'm only a
Yeah, I
Bill.
remember
mean, we know all of those songs.
yeah.
I could sit here and sing them. We need that
Right.
back, so
Yeah.
the kids start learning it from an age. But I have always been, taught as a kid and growing up to be proud to be an American, and to
Right.
be. This is the greatest country on the planet, and case in point, there's so many people trying to get into America because they want to live the American dream. So the kids need to know why. Why is that the case? They need to learn. They need to learn history. They need to learn civics, and they need to know how a successful government works. So
And
yeah,
that
that's
builds
important.
patriotism too.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, a lot of it they're teaching nowadays. If you say you love America, they want to cancel you. It's like, what is that?
Yeah. Yeah. I just think good old-fashioned teaching kids about our founding fathers and learning history and what sacrifices. Can you imagine the sacrifices they had to make?
Oh my God! Yeah.
Coming over to this country, leaving everything behind just for what they believed in, and then risking life and limb. Many of them died for the cause. So to believe in something that much, that's true patriotism. And I think that if you teach kids that more in a historic sense, and
Right.
I think that would really go a long way.
Yeah, my parents were immigrants from Holland.
Really?
Yeah, and they were kind of stuck in Holland during the German occupation, and they came to the United States shortly after the war was over. But we would have daily talks about how great America was. I mean, that was just a big deal in our house. And I think I got that more than the average American kid, because my parents were just really, really into it. I mean, they suffered through war and poverty and everything else to the degree of almost starvation, And so coming here was a big dream for them.
I bet.
And so I kind of got an additional education in patriotism.
Speaking of that, along those lines, being a part of Leadership Montgomery County, they asked us, what would your project be? If you could do anything in the area, what would the project be? And I have, just from my involvement with the kids and mentoring and stuff, I thought, wouldn't it be great if we had some sort of mentoring program that scooped up all the kids that don't have those perfect parents that teach them all that kind of stuff. And maybe you could talk with the Chamber of Commerce and the businesses and allow people to have a little bit of time off to go to their kids' soccer game or whatever, and teach these parents in a class, hey, let's tell our kids at home what a great country this is. And,
Right.
I think that would be so neat.
Yeah,
if you
see,
could do
parental education should almost be required, I think.
Yeah.
When you get pregnant, you should have to take a parental education course.
Yes. Not just buy a book and go, oh no,
So-
what's going on?
Right.
You said you went through the Montgomery County leadership.
I'm in that now, actually.
Are you? Well, my wife went through that. That was a year-long grueling
It's,
class. Tell us about that.
I love it.
Because a lot of
I
people
love
don't
it
know
so
about
much.
that. That's very educational. It's very grueling. She learned quite a bit.
So the 44 people per year get chosen in the Leadership Montgomery County program. And it's so amazing because just to get into the program, you have to show that you are service driven and that you have had so much.
Yeah, you have to be nominated.
Yes.
Yes.
But you have to have 2 nominations,
Right.
and then you have to show your background and what you've done in service. So number one, I'm just so thrilled and honored to even be in that group of people, and it's been amazing. They teach you we meet once a month for a year, and it's a full day commitment. So you
Sure,
have
yeah.
to get off work. This is 8 to 5, and sometimes a little bit longer than that. We see how the infrastructure works for the county. We see how government works. We talked to the legislators one time. We see the police. We just came off of with the police. Seeing their training academies. We heard from the sheriff's office. We heard from the constable's office. Really neat how an investigation happens. What you see on television, CSI, how to do
Right.
fingerprints. I mean, it's really amazing the level of education that they are willing to give you, and the purpose of the whole program is to make future leaders of the community more aware and connected on how things work. So, for instance, this will help me in the legislature, because if anyone asks me about the San Jacinto River Authority, or anybody asks me about infrastructure or the police officers or whatever, I will know someone to call, and it just connects everyone with a service-driven. We have
How hospitals work, how the
Exactly.
sewer systems work, how the waste
Exactly.
management works. Yeah, it's all entailed.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, and then
Wow.
afterwards, you get to be a part of the alumni program. And in the future, whatever your job is, all businesses are connected now. And if someone says to you that they're an alumni of that program, immediately you know what kind of person
Yeah.
that is. So it's a driven person, connected person that only has the heart to serve.
Yeah, you
So,
have to be elected by nominated by other leaders.
You do.
And so it's very prestigious.
Yeah, I
That's
have no
cool.
idea how I got in the program. Just keeping my mouth shut and rolling with it.
How many weeks are you into it now?
So,
months.
we 5 months into it, 4 or 5 months into it, 6 months.
months?
Time
Halfway
is-
point.
You started going through the
Right.
field trips yet, right?
We're doing the field trips, yes,
Yeah,
and
those are educational.
they are.
Yeah, really learn a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in it too.
Sabrina and I are in it together.
Oh, you're in as well.
That's
Yeah.
how we met.
Oh,
Yes.
We sat beside each other in a bus ride one time on a ropes course, and we started talking about serving the community and all of that. And I at first didn't tell anyone that I was. I'm there as a real estate person, and and my service in the community. That's how I was chosen for this. So I didn't speak of my thoughts of possibly running for state representative until one day we sat in the bus together, and I told her what I was doing, and she said, "Wow, okay, I'm in."
well, good luck with that. And now you'll be able to nominate somebody if you
I will.
when you pass.
In
Wow,
fact,
that's cool.
when I put it on social media of whatever we've done for the day, I actually had someone say, "Wow, what a great program!" And I said, "If you want to go through this, I highly recommend it. You let me know, and I will make sure that you get it, that you have a recommendation from me." So I think it's a super valuable program.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
That's cool. All right. So, you seem to be very qualified.
Trying.
Yeah. And
Never
that's,
can learn enough.
That's a good thing. Okay. So, one more thing that I wanted to get to, and let me see if I can find it in here. And of course not, but I had it.
Well, tell us some of the things the 10 things you said you would like to, when you got into office, you'd like to see that would help improve our area.
Well, the 2 that stick out in my mind, I'll tell you about because I'm most passionate about it. So I met with some retired police officers, and at first they didn't really want to talk to me. Politicians don't mean what they say, whatever. And so after a few cups of coffee and a couple visits later, he told me a story. One of the police officers told me a story that he was called out to remove a child from a mother's care. The child was 1 or 2, and evidently the father of the child the parents of the father wanted grandparent rights, and the mother wasn't allowing that. So they got an attorney, they got a judge's order. They're going to remove this child from the mother now. So the police officer goes out there. Come to find out from the mother that the father had never been a part of their life. In fact, the baby was because of rape. And so the father had never been a part of the life, and the mother was devastated that this child was being taken away. So the police officer took it upon himself to call the judge and explain the situation. The judge said, I'm going to have a word with those attorneys. No one brought this to my attention. I'm rescinding my order. So they left the child with the mother. And so the police officer says, if you really, he goes, I hear the things that you want to do for the community. That's all nice. But if you really want to make a difference, he said, make it. So if you really want to make a difference in pro-life, and make a mother decide to have a baby, even if she's raped, is to take away all parental rights from a rapist. If they're convicted of rape,
sure,
they should have no rights to that child. So that's
that
not
makes
in the
sense.
books.
That just makes sense.
I can't wait to get there and do that.
I would imagine that's an understood. I mean, that's
that's
you would
given.
think so. But see,
Wow.
that's the power of a legislator, is they can actually make a law that says that. If there's no law, there's no way to enforce it. Right, so I'm really passionate about that. I can't wait to get there
that
to do
done
that.
for us.
I will. And the second thing, in talking with the commissioners, they have these big, beautiful roads that we've spent all this money on, and these dump trucks are coming overloaded and tearing them up.
Yeah.
But there's no law in the transportation code that prevents that. So the county commissioner, for a few sessions of the legislature, has been trying to get that part passed so that at least they can go after for restitution and not cost the taxpayers more money to fix the roads. And that's such a simple thing, but that's something a legislator could do. That's another thing that I've made a commitment to do. I'm going to do that immediately. So I'm making my list of things like that. And so for the next, let's say I'm elected, the next 10
when
months.
You're elected.
I have 10.
Yeah,
when I'm elected, I've got 10 months to get, so you have not seen a doer walk into that legislature without all of, like me, because I'm going to walk in with a set of bills from day one. That's another thing I learned when I was researching all the legislative things that were going on last session. Is there's a day that on that first day you can put forward all your bills, and then so the good legislators have a stack ready to go. Whatever their community is, that's what's getting done. And the people that aren't such good legislators, they get around to it when they get around to it. But the legislator only meets every 2 years, so there's no time to lose. So you got to get in there, get it done, and that's what I'm going to do.
cool. I like it.
We'll be following you.
Well, David had mentioned that you were in real estate, and so I'm curious what your thoughts are on property taxes. And I know it's a big complaint with every homeowner. Especially in Montgomery County, because we face so much growth and the appraisals have just skyrocketed out here. So what can you do as a legislator to help us in the property tax phase, and how can we at least, I don't know, put a cap on it or something?
This is what I'm most excited about, honestly, property tax. Having been in real estate for 20 years, I really understand appraisals, I understand property tax, I understand all of that. And in this process of trying to meet as many people as I can for this job application, that's everyone's number one thing is please help me with my property tax. I was talking to an officer that says, I have paid off my house, but now every month I'm setting money aside so that I don't lose my house. And
that's what we are.
Well, we feel like renters.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're
and it
renting from the
shouldn't be
state,
that way.
yeah.
And so when I researched that, I started hearing that over and over and over the last few months. So I actually went to Austin and I met with the Texas Public Policy Foundation because I heard they had a plan. So they accepted my appointment request. I went and spent about 8 hours with them as they explained their plan. So they've had a plan for years of how to solve this. They've got major economists over there working on this.
Okay.
So basically, in a nutshell, what they're doing is, number one, they have to limit the spending, which the legislature just did that last session. So that's step one. You have to limit the spending, put a cap on it. So they've done that. So that's check, right? The next step is to use the surplus funds. So they figure as we go into next session, that'll be about $12 billion.
Billion.
Billion with a B. So that $12 billion, we need legislative people to make sure that that money goes to pay off the maintenance and operation side of school tax, which is roughly half of everybody's property tax, right?
Yes.
So if you chip away at that, it's going to take a few years. I mean, to be quite honest, it's probably going to take 6 to 8 years to get that
Sure.
done. But every year surplus, if you write legislation that says that surplus has to go and pay that off, you're going to chip away at that decently enough when step 3 comes along, where you broaden the base of the sales tax. There's a lot of products that aren't even subject to the sales tax. So if you broaden the base of the sales tax, people call it consumption tax or whatever. If you broaden that base, they've got a plan that they can actually lower the sales tax. I think it was by 1/4 point.
And create more revenue.
Yes.
Yeah, that's smart.
And so they've got it down. They've got a plan. They made some success in the Senate to get it pushed through their plan this last session, but no one was carrying it in the House. And I told them, I am your person. I will carry this through the... there's people that understand this plan way better than I that have been working on it. They just need a legislator that'll get it done, that has nothing to lose but to help the people. So I'm most excited about that, because I think this is finally the legislative session that's going to get it done, because even the Governor Abbott's talking about it. Even the governor, people that are running for governor are talking about it. So this is the time. So I'm going to be the person that gets that through.
This is the first time. I'm astonished. I mean, this is the first time I've heard anybody that actually has a plan.
Right.
A viable plan.
Yeah,
They've
we
had
talk
the
about
plan.
somebody wants to do it. Nobody has a plan. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
they
wow.
have a plan, and so I can't
sounds
wait
good.
to get back to Austin and talk to it. So I'm telling you, March 1st I get in. March 2nd I'm back in Austin to talk to these people on how we can get this done, because I've got the next 10 months to get it done.
It's just awesome.
Yeah, somebody
great.
actually explained it to us.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, well, I want to do it.
Yeah, amazing. All right. So one more question, and then we'll
Yes.
close out. I'm the average voter, have made a decision that you were Cecil Bell. What would you say to that individual to get them to swing your way?
I would say, listen, we're both good people. Representative Bell's a fine man. He's a good Christian. I'm a good person. I'm a good Christian. We're both very conservative. The difference is I believe in term limits, because statistically, when someone is in office too long, they just slow down. It's natural.
Right.
I think our founding fathers wanted term limits so that their whole idea is that you get new people to come in and serve, and the people that have been serving the community go back to where they live and see what they've created. And it just creates more and more people getting involved in the process. That's the American way. So I'm asking, I am a doer. I have already been seeming like I have the job, because I think it's so important. There's no time to waste. So if you give me a chance, you're going to see action like you have never seen. I think everybody deserves the chance to serve. And so I'm just asking for that chance.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so how can the average guy find out more about you?
So you can go to my campaign website, which is kellyfortexas.com, spelled all the way out.
Okay.
And my phone number's on there. They can call me directly. I have people that have been calling me and saying, hey, I'd like to talk to you about whatever it is, about our community growing too fast. I said, let's go. Let's meet. Can you meet at the coffee shop? And they're like, really? Okay. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I seriously want to hear anybody's ideas. Collectively as a community, everybody knows a little bit of something, right? And my job as representative is to take those ideas and take the best ideas and get it done.
Right.
So
Sounds
just
good.
call me, go to my website, and let's talk, because I want to earn your vote so that I'll have the opportunity to serve. And then after the fact, after you elect me, I want you to keep reaching out to me. I'm going to have regular business hours, even at night sometimes, because people have to work all day.
Sure.
So I'm committed to being a servant and to get things done.
Okay. Fantastic. David, anything else? You
No,
good?
she sounds
I
like she's
hate to
well
s-
qualified. Looks like she's going to give a good shot.
Hate to see you go. I love being here.
Enjoyed
I hope you'll have
talking
me
to you.
back.
Absolutely.
We'd love you to come
after,
back.
And as
Yeah,
a matter
please.
of fact, after you get elected, let's give you some time to get settled in and such. But it'd be great to come back in and talk about the legislation you're working on. And
It's a
that'd
deal.
be awesome. It'd be great.
It's a deal.
All right, well, I'm going to close out. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. Kelly McDonald, and she's a contender for this race for sure. She is serious about this. As a matter of fact, on her birth certificate under race, it says Texas House of Representatives, District 3. So that's how serious she was from day one. So, guys, take a look at her website. Make sure you vote intelligently. Don't go in there and just vote for a name or somebody you're used to, but listen to the ideas, listen to the plan, and make a firm decision for yourself. That's the only way we'll ever steer ourselves out of the problems that we've gotten into as a country. And I think that you'll do it. I agree with it, and it's going to work out. Early voting starts when, Kelly?
Valentine's Day, February 14th.
February 14th, Valentine's Day. I expect to see long lines and everybody there, and I'm going to go through shaking hands myself. For David Mullane, I'm Hank Vatt, and this is Hank's Think Tank, and we're out.
Yay.